Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. And I'm making sure my Rockfin is on. We'll see. Again, it takes a little time for Rockfin to get... Oh, we are on. We are live. We are live on Rockfin. We are live on YouTube. Thank you all for joining me for some politics/political news. Muzza, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. You know, Kiro Hike says, I'm hoping Joe Biden will not put up with Trump's malarkey. If it was Al Gore would have conceded already. Interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, on some levels I can see that analogy. However, a lot of people feel like the same people that are behind Biden are the same people that were behind Bush, right? That they were of the neoliberal bent, or the I don't know what you want to call it, neoliberal, neo-fascist, right? Al Gore, especially in the realm of climate change, was more radical, maybe more progressive, right? And maybe wasn't as ready to do the bidding of the oligarchs as Bush was, and so that maybe that's why Bush wasn't installed in 2000. And in this case, not saying that Trump is not in bed with the oligarchs or just another oligarch face, but it may be that Biden is the one that the neo-fascists, the neoliberals want more than Trump, right? But Trump is not going down. Trump is not conceding anything, which, look, so, you know, I'm doing this political video, political news, separate video. I don't know, because some people just have a hard time mixing the climate change and the politics. But look, this is all, as I say in the beginning of every video, it's all connected. And if you cannot see the truth of what's happening politically, if you want to believe your own story or believe the official story about what's happening politically, on some levels you are in denial of truth, of reality. You are no better than a climate denier. If you know, yesterday I was bringing you a story about, literally about the fact that Trump was not conceding the election, that they had their own issues with how the election was going, and maybe they were going to contest it on some level, right? Which, you know, in some ways they are within their rights to do. So the election is becoming contested. The Biden camp and all the media are throwing out all this. He's full of shit, and you know there's no reason or validity to his claims. Whatever. You can. I was just bringing you the story yesterday that there was contention, right, around the election, and that people have a lot of questions. Not just Trumpers. People on the left as well, people on the progressive left, have questions about what's actually going on. Whatever, and you know, when I bring you political news, I try to be well-sourced, or I try to at least bring in another viewpoint or another opinion, right, from another commentator or you know, someone else who is covering the story that I'm covering as well, to just kind of give it a little more validity and more backup. But I don't do stories that are based on nothing. And I don't do stories where I'm just speaking out of my own ass. So, and I'm going to tell you right now, the stories that I do bring up, the stories that I do talk about, if I'm saying that they're valid, they're based on truth, they're based on evidence, they are, you know, it's not, your opinion doesn't really fucking matter, right? So I'm bringing you stories that are based on fact. If they're not based on fact, or if there's a multitude of opinions, or if there's contention around certain issues, I will say so. I will say that. I don't know why people just don't really want to listen to me when I speak, when I do videos. They want to infer all kinds of their own personal positions onto what I'm speaking and not actually listen to the words that come out of my mouth. I'm kind of sick of hearing that stuff, and so whatever. That's kind of why I'm doing 2 different videos. It's part of the reason why I'm doing 2 different videos. But, anyways, whatever. Jacob Gordon, true, Kevin, Biden only looks good in comparison to Trump. Compared to someone with actual integrity, Biden looks like shit. Well, he should. And he should. And that is a really big problem, is that this hypocrisy, this double standard that the liberal, people, the left want to put on you, is that we're good and they're bad, and, we're going to give you the official story of why we're good, and people just suck that up. Official story. People just love to believe a bullshit story if it's, given to you by an official outlet. And they just love to believe it if it makes them feel better about themselves. And I feel like that's truly sad if you're one of those people. Anyways, yes, let's go to this. Poppy and Jean brought up this tweet from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Hopefully this is all my buttons are working. Is anyone archiving these Trump sycophants for when they try to downplay or deny their complicity in the future? I foresee decent probability of many deleted tweets, writings, photos in the future. People were really like, what the hell? People were really up in arms around this tweet because we're keeping lists now. I mean, this almost sounds like something Trump would say. We're going to keep a list of these Democrats. And maybe he has said stuff like this, and this is why, Trump is the asshole that he is. But, we're keeping lists of things that you say or people that you support. We're going to keep a list for later for what? So that you can what? Make them culpable in what? In crimes. And I think she's speaking to that. But it's funny because, the Democrats are never culpable in crimes. Right? Oh, they're not. Oh, no, we never did that. That's nonsense. That's, hearsay. Somebody made that up. When they are culpable, plenty culpable in many crimes, including war crimes, including, crimes against nature or crimes against the environment or crimes against the people, the citizens of this country. Democrats are certainly culpable in that kind of stuff, but this is just people were like kind of aghast at this tweet by Ocasio-Cortez. Anyways, it is Veterans Day, and I just showing you this mostly just for the headline, and I'm going to not spend a lot of time on this. As a veteran, I refuse to celebrate war. I refuse to celebrate Veterans Day. If you're a veteran, good for you. Thanks very much and all that stuff. But I really want people to start talking about war being a terrible, horrible thing, not to be supported. Don't encourage your children or people you know and love to join the military. Do not encourage them. It is an organization that inflicts pain and death and suffering on people around the world and should not be supported in any way, shape, or form. So, fuck the military and fuck this glorification of war. And, I hope that veterans, I think the best thing you could do if you're in the military is get the fuck out immediately and stop being a part of this disgusting killing machine. As a veteran who is also an anti-war activist, I find Veterans Day to be a toxic holiday. On Veterans Day, we are asked to ignore all the horrors of U.S. militarism for the sake of the veteran, which is absolute bullshit, which is a fucking brainwashing ploy to make everybody go, yay, USA. Oh, oh, veterans. Oh, thank you. It would be different if we had a draft, if you were forced to go to war against your own will. That would be really different, but we don't have a draft. People do this on their, of their own volition. Fuck that shit. All this despite the fact that trillions of dollars have been diverted from education, healthcare, infrastructure, and even veteran support in order to pay for the U.S. military. That military overthrows governments, surveils the planet, covers up sexual assault, slaughters millions, and pollutes more than any other organization. I'm going to leave it right there. Those are all the reasons you should have to say, who gives a fuck about Veterans Day? Glad you served. Good for you. Anyways, what are you doing to end war? That's all I want to hear about. Let's move on. Sorry if that's harsh, but I don't give a shit. Let's move on to some coronavirus news. Coronavirus live news. U.S. registers more than 1 million new cases in 10 days. The EU secures Pfizer BioNTech vaccine doses. Weird story the other day, just as an aside on Twitter. There was this thing about Pfizer claiming that they weren't part of Operation Warp Speed. Like they were out there, denying vociferously that they were part of any of that. And I thought that was a little bit weird. And I don't know any more about the story than that, but I'm just remarking on the fact that there seemed to be a thing on Twitter about Pfizer, saying, no, we're not part of this. Okay. But a lot of those contracts for the vaccine were given in secret. So, plausible deniability, I guess. So New York is imposing a new round of restrictions. Cuomo ordered bars, restaurants, and gyms in the state shut down on-premises services at 10 p.m. nightly, and capped the number of people who could attend private parties at 10. Okay. Also, there seems to be some strange, Thanksgiving restrictions in California. I think I talked about those the other day, but just weird. There's going to be a lot of people that are like, okay, whatever. As Michael Tracy pointed out months ago, this whole everybody follow the rules, and I'm not saying don't do that. Please do that. Please make sure that you're healthy. Make sure that your loved ones are healthy. Do whatever it is you deem necessary in order to feel safe and be safe from getting sick. But I'm just saying, the Democrats have made it seem, the Democrats were totally fine with people being out in the streets protesting when, kind of in the middle of a pandemic when there were lockdown orders still in effect. But the entire mainstream media or liberal media was like, no, this is fine. This is fine. Right? So again, the hypocrisy and the double message of the Democrats makes them sound like dumb pieces of shit, like that nobody should listen to, right? Oh, I am the moral authority, but I'm going to be totally hypocritical about when and where and how and stuff. Hold on. Okay. My apologies for the infinite videos. Hopefully everybody is seeing everything. Let me just make sure that everybody is seeing everything on the Rockfin too. I guess so. Sure. Going back. They're upping lockdowns in the UK. Boris Johnson says anti-vax is total nonsense and everyone is entitled to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Should take it if it becomes available. This is the part where things are going to start getting really weird because a lot of people have questions about the vaccine. I've seen a lot of people, and they're not Trumpers, they're liberals, or they're black people, or the people of color, they're people that, people from all different walks of society, maybe just people that just don't trust the official story or the government, are like very, very skeptical about this vaccine, right? So a lot of people are going to be like, no, I really don't want this vaccine. Moment of truth when the vaccine becomes available, what really happens? Anyway, so Boris Johnson fully behind vaccines, everybody taking vaccines. Turkey has banned smoking in crowded public places to slow the coronavirus. Interesting. So yes, we're seeing an uptick everywhere. Interesting story out of Reuters from 2 days ago. 1 in 5 COVID-19 patients develop mental illness within 90 days. What? Have you all heard about this? Any of this? I haven't heard this before now, but very, obviously there are lots of kind of bizarre side effects to COVID, long-lasting side effects to COVID. Many COVID-19 survivors are likely to be at greater risk of developing mental illness, psychiatrists said on Monday after a large study found 20% of those infected with the coronavirus are diagnosed with a psychiatric disorder within 90 days. Interesting. Anxiety, depression, and insomnia were most common among recovered COVID-19 patients in the study who developed mental health problems. Researchers from Britain's Oxford University also found significantly higher risks of dementia, a brain impairment, dementia from COVID-19. Frightening. Again, I mean, we have mutations, we have minks getting infected, we have basically the Earth and the coronavirus tribunal, whatever, of the tribunal of the universe, of the Earth, saying, humans, be prepared for more fuckery. Yes, Kuro Hike, stuff and things. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. The dude says shrinks testes. Oh no. Oh no. COVID-1984. Yes, Loie Appett's fastest developed vaccine was against mumps 4 years. You know what I heard? I heard from a little bird, and I'm actually not wrong because I just read an article about it a few weeks ago. They already had a coronavirus vaccine in development before the coronavirus hit. Did you all know that? Because there are other coronaviruses. So, on some levels it would make sense that they would be already developing a vaccine. But also on another level, you might find it somewhat intriguing that there was already a coronavirus vaccine in development before the coronavirus hit. Just handy, or just happenstance. Yes, Kuro Hikes. I can't understand why anyone would not trust American vaccines. Tuskegee syphilis study, right? I can't understand why people would be skeptical of this vaccine or very, very afraid to put it in their body. If you guys are paying attention to The Last Vagabond and their videos, their channel, and also Whitney Webb, The Last Vagabond goes into great detail about some of the vaccine weirdness going on. as far as what's going on around the development of a vaccine, etc. Okay, so and this is also very interesting. Really quickly, guys, we have 57 watching, 25 likes. Please like up the video. We are going back to this story in New York. In New York. State bar passes mandatory COVID-19 vaccination recommendations. So they're kind of putting legal things into place, legalese into place. If they're not, we'll just read this. The resolution does not contain conditions limiting its scope. Whatever that means. Those include that the state government should only consider making vaccinations mandatory if voluntary COVID-19 vaccinations fall short of producing needed levels of population immunity and or if enough people resist taking it. I mean, basically, they've passed a statute saying that they could possibly make it mandatory, that an assessment of the health threat to various communities be made so that perhaps the mandate can be targeted to certain communities. Right? Oh, it's not mandatory, except for over here. And that a mandate only be considered after there is expert consensus about the vaccine safety and efficacy. Oh, well, always listen to the experts, guys. Anyways, eyebrow raising is all I'm going to say about this. The report recommended that it should be mandatory for all Americans to undergo COVID-19 vaccination. All Americans. All Americans. They're not talking about the state of New York. They're talking about everybody, despite people's objections, with the one exception being doctor-ordered medical reasons. Okie dokie. So the language has already been being put into play. There was no language about a mandate being limited to New York State residents. There you go. And no language saying a public recommendation should only be for the state's government to consider a mandate. Okay. And this is something that the last American Vagabond was covering, what medical experts think about Pfizer's new COVID-19 vaccine. They're saying it's 90% effective. However, many doctors were expecting the first generation vaccines to only work 50 to 60% in 50 to 60% of people, because that in the past has been what has been, generally seen in vaccines, right? First generation vaccines. First generation vaccines generally worked in 50 to 60% of people. Oh, but they have this new vaccine that's never, hardly been tested or never been tested. What the last American Vagabond is covering is the fact that they're basically rolling out this vaccine and we are going to be the guinea pigs. They're going to mandate it. They're going to make it mandatory. People are going to be forced to take it. And they're basically testing it on the population at large. Are you nervous yet? Feeling a little uncomfortable yet? That they're putting language into play about a mandatory vaccination. They're trying to tell people that it's 90% effective when other vaccinations are not known to be 90% effective. Sorry for the buffering, guys. I don't know what's going on. My apologies. Still going, though. So, yeah. And there's a lot of questions about not just the vaccination's efficacy, but safety, etc. Getting towards the end here, guys. I wanted to bring you a couple of good tweets and things and memes that I've seen in the last couple of days. This is from Ryan Knight. Stop glorifying the Affordable Care Act. It's a for-profit predatory health care plan That was a gift to the insurance companies. Just look how much premiums went up after it was passed. Corporate Democrats defend it because it was good for their donors. This was a Republican healthcare plan known as Romneycare before it was Obamacare. And the funny thing is that, there's it's before the Supreme Court and there's this legal battle over it. And now everybody's, oh my God, they're going to strike it down. They're defending, Democrats and liberals are defending something that is basically a Republican healthcare plan. Oh, breaking from Ben Swan, Georgia, to hand recount every ballot in 2020 election. So, yeah, let the election confusion begin. Georgia is going to recount. People are calling Biden president-elect. Hold on. And this is becoming much more mainstream news, guys. If you've noticed, it's starting to kind of come out and be, more of a mainstream news story. New York Times is saying officials, no evidence of voter fraud found. That's what the New York Times, who was fully on board with Russiagate, fully pushing Russiagate, they're like, no, there's no voter fraud, no way. Democrats urge Trump appointee to authorize presidential transition. Let's go. Let's authorize this. Let's go. Let's make this official, guys. Here's the funny thing, though. Here's a hilarious thing. This is from a Democrat on Twitter. We're to accept that Moscow Mitch, with 14% approval, a year after Kentucky elected a Democratic governor, and after 800,000 new Democrat registrations, wins by over 700,000 votes. Folks, this is bullshit, and they cheated with the same machines used in South Carolina, Texas, Ohio, and Florida. Oh, wait a minute. So Democrats are saying that this is all bullshit. There's cheating. Guys, there's fraud going on because Mitch won. But when Trump loses, oh, no. There's no fraud. There's no fraud. No, there's no fraud. But when Mitch wins, Mitch McConnell, it's fraud. Imagine if Trump won, or it looked like Trump was going to win. Oh my God, it would be fraud. I'm sorry about I apologize for the buffering, guys. I apologize. Hold on one second. I got plenty of stream, guys. I don't know why it's buffering. Probably because my I just got too many things going on my computer. But anyways, the Democrats are out, if any Republicans winning, it's fraud. But any Democrats winning, oh no, there's no fraud. This is wild. This is a wild-eyed conspiracy theory. A wild-eyed conspiracy theory. If you see how this is going. Anyways. So it's bullshit if it's your guy wins. It's total fraud if the other guy wins. How is this different from Trumpers? How are Democrats different from Republicans? How are liberals different from Trumpers? I can't see it. How is Biden different from Trump? I really can't see it. And lastly, guys, in this video, just going to finish with this because out of The Guardian, downright dangerous. Democrat alarm as Trump stacks Pentagon with loyalists. Okay, so this is getting a little bit weird and hairy, I would say. You have a kind of a standoff brewing about who won the election. Trump is not conceding. He is not leaving. They are not approving the transition. He fired Mark Esper, the defense secretary, yesterday. What is happening? Fears that appointment of extreme Republican partisans could endanger or politicize operation of Defense Department, or something else. Extreme Republican partisans have been installed in important roles in the Pentagon following the summary dismissal of the defense secretary. Some people are like, what's going on? His dismissal of Defense Secretary Mark Esper at a time Donald Trump is refusing to accept his election defeat. Democrats immediately demanded explanations for the 11th hour personnel changes and warned that the U.S. was entering a dangerous, uncharted territory with the reshuffling of key national security roles during a presidential transition. However, defense experts argued that there was little the new Trump appointees could do to use their positions to the president's advantage, given the firm refusal of the uniformed armed services to get involved in domestic politics. And we'll just leave that there, guys. I have run out of time for this particular broadcast, this particular live stream. I want to thank all y'all for joining me. Thank you for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. Thank you for my watchers on Rockfin. I got 5 viewers on Rockfin. Hello, guys. How you doing? Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me. What's up? Andre, how you doing? Jay Thadcast says there is no standoff. No one cares but Trump. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just reporting what is happening. There seems to be something kind of kooky going on. And it's, more likely, maybe it doesn't turn into something. Who knows? Who knows what this next week will bring or next few weeks? I don't know. What's up, Muzza? Thank you for being here always in the chats. Bold Rope Lamppost says coup posturing. Irk1 says Dems versus Repubs is good cop, bad cop politics. Indeed. Rich Diana, it's a corporatocracy ruling both flavors. Indeed. The dude may be more like the fraud and the scorpion. Basil, let's do an autopsy of America. I agree. Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all. I will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for some climate change news. Thank you for hanging out with me on the daily. And until next time, peace.